Are you dealing with neck pain, an aching edge of your shoulder blade, and turning your head to the side feels like pure torture? Most likely, the root of your problem is right inside the levator scapulae muscle. Make sure to watch this video right until the very end. We are going to break down the exact causes of this pain. I will show you some simple exercises to quickly relieve it, and I will give you practical tips on how to forget about it forever. This is Dr. Chernov. Thank you so much for dropping a like and subscribing to the channel, and please enjoy the video. The levator scapulae muscle is conveniently located right underneath the upper portion of your trapezius muscle. At the top, it firmly attaches to the transverse processes of the upper four cervical vertebrae, and down at the bottom, it connects right to the medial border of the shoulder blade. Whenever this muscle becomes overloaded, hard and tight nodules begin to form right in its center and closer to the shoulder blade. These are what we call trigger points. These specific points are exactly what cause that familiar aching pain at the base of your neck and the edge of the shoulder blade, which very often radiates right into the back of your shoulder. By the way, this particular muscle, together with the upper trapezius, are the absolute record holders when it comes to the frequency of developing these kinds of painful spasms. How exactly do you locate this main source of your pain? Sit down comfortably, press your back firmly against your chair, and make absolutely sure to rest your elbows right on the armrests. Alternatively, you can simply lie down safely on your healthy side. You can search for the point straight through the trapezius by applying light pressure with your fingers, or you can easily pull the trapezius back just a little bit to reach the muscle that you need. If you are searching for it while lying on your side, gently turn your head to the opposite direction. This way, the muscle we want will stretch out and elevate slightly. The main secret to your success here is that you will find this point only if you completely and fully relax your upper trapezius. In addition to that constant aching pain, spasms inside the levator scapulae muscle will literally lock up your entire neck. The pain you feel when turning your head to the side can be so incredibly sharp that if somebody calls your name from behind, you will have to turn around using your entire torso instead of just your neck. Checking the condition of this muscle is actually very easy. Just use a standard head turn as a really simple at-home diagnostic test. Under absolutely normal conditions, whenever you turn your neck, your chin should comfortably and freely reach the exact level of the front of your shoulder. If the muscle is locked up tightly on only one side of your body, you will notice it immediately. You won't be able to turn your head all the way, and a sharp, sudden pain will appear right at the limit of your movement. If this specific problem has managed to affect the levator scapulae muscles on both sides of your neck, then turning your head is going to feel equally difficult and incredibly painful whether you look to the left or to the right. Furthermore, these extremely tight trigger points prevent your shoulder blade from gliding smoothly and freely whenever we try to take a really deep breath. As a direct result of this, our breathing becomes noticeably shorter and much more shallow because the shoulder blade ends up being literally locked in a single position and simply will not allow your rib cage to fully and properly expand. If your levator scapulae muscle manages to stay in a state of spasm for a long time, it actually starts to function exactly like a tightly stretched steel cable. It constantly, and with a great deal of force, pulls on those exact same four upper cervical vertebrae to which it is firmly attached. Because of this relentless and constant tension, the blood supply and nutrition of the intervertebral discs gets seriously disrupted, the cartilage wears down completely, and this becomes a direct pathway to developing bulging discs, full herniations in the cervical spine, and extremely painful pinched nerves. Where exactly do these painful trigger points even come from? The primary reason is simply our terrible everyday habit of holding the shoulder elevated for a very long period of time. Right at this specific moment, the muscle noticeably shortens and completely freezes up in tension. The situation becomes significantly worse if you are just feeling extremely tired or if your neck simply caught a nasty draft of cold air. Just think about yourself for a second. We tend to sit for hours in front of the computer screen, hunched completely over, with our arms stretched far out to the mouse. Or we might constantly carry a really heavy bag on the exact same shoulder, reflexively shrugging it up high, just so the heavy strap doesn't accidentally slide off. I really want to pay special attention to your daily work routine and chronic stress. These two things absolutely destroy this particular muscle. Right in the primary risk zone are all the programmers, accountants, and everyone else who sits directly in front of a monitor for days on end. This category also perfectly describes all those people who are constantly used to clamping the telephone handset right between their ear and shoulder, instead of simply using a pair of headphones. And even regularly playing musical instruments like the violin or the flute over a long period of time essentially leads to a massive overload of this exact muscle. Even the incredibly simple act of watching a very long movie in a comfortable armchair with overly high armrests forces us to subtly and unconsciously shrug our shoulders up. Because of this, the muscle gradually shortens, incredibly hard trigger points suddenly appear, and the final result is that familiar, nagging pain and a completely stiff wooden neck. We definitely cannot forget about the psychological aspect either. Everyday situations where a person constantly takes on way too many responsibilities and literally carries the weight of the world right on their shoulders, living a life filled with chronic stress, high tension, or suppressed anger. All of this forces your physical body to reflexively tense up and squeeze together. As a direct result of this, incredibly powerful spasms fiercely attack not only the levator scapulae muscle, but they also severely hit the trapezius, completely locking up your entire neck. If you ever actually have to walk around using a cane, and it happens to be way too long for your specific height, this is also going to inevitably damage your neck, simply by forcing your shoulder to remain constantly elevated as you walk. An excessive amount of sports and physical activity can actually be quite harmful to you as well. Very long, intense swims in the swimming pool, frequently playing competitive tennis, or a really strong passion for doing handstands will easily and quickly provoke that exact characteristic pain right underneath your shoulder blade. And naturally, traumatic car accidents and any kinds of sharp whiplash injuries to your neck. These are generally considered a completely classic cause of the most brutal and severe muscle spasm in this entire area. Developing scoliosis, an uneven pelvic tilt, or having a noticeable difference in your leg lengths will heavily overload not only your quadratus lumborum muscle, which, by the way, I have already discussed in great detail in another one of my videos, but they also manage to create a constant, chronic state of tension all throughout your neck, actively forcing the levator scapulae muscle to work incredibly hard until it completely wears itself out. Finally, we need to quickly mention viral infections. A very common cold or the familiar herpes virus can incredibly easily wake up old, completely dormant trigger points that were hiding inside. Because of this exact reason, your neck can practically hurt like crazy the entire time that you are feeling sick, and continue to ache terribly for another couple of days even after you make a complete and full recovery. How exactly can you help yourself at home during a severe spasm of the levator scapulae muscle? The plan is incredibly simple. First, you really need to massage the painful trigger points, and then thoroughly stretch out the muscle itself. You can easily massage out this specific area at home using absolutely anything you like. Double or single massage balls will work perfectly, a standard percussion massage gun, or any kind of roller massagers designed for the neck. If you decide to use the double massage balls, stand right up against a wall and for 1 or 2 minutes, very slowly roll them up and down directly along your cervical spine. Do not panic if you suddenly hear a characteristic crunching sound. This is completely normal for a tightly compressed muscle. As soon as you manage to feel the single most painful point, stop immediately. Apply solid pressure on it for about 30 seconds, and then simply continue with your smooth and gentle rolling motions. Do you want to work your neck even deeper? Move right down to the floor. Wrap both of your hands securely around your head and very carefully roll out the tight muscles of your neck. However, you must be extremely careful here and never place any sudden or heavy loads directly onto your cervical vertebrae. And here is a very important piece of advice. If you happen to have long hair, make absolutely sure the ball doesn't chew it up, because otherwise in this awkward position, you can easily rip out a chunk of your own hair. With a single massage ball, it is actually much more convenient to work while standing right against a wall, smoothly pressing into it using the full weight of your own body. And please do not forget about this. You absolutely must perform this specific exercise on both the left and right sides of your neck. If you currently own a percussion massage gun, go ahead and grab the U-shaped fork attachment or the standard round massage head. Carefully go over the entire back surface of your neck, making sure to linger right on the stiffest and most incredibly painful areas. For a standard roller massager, the technique goes exactly like this. First, we place the large roller into the very highest position and knead out the neck for a couple of minutes. After that, we flip the massager completely upside down, grab the handles tightly with our hands, lift our pelvis straight up from the floor, and very intensely roll out the levator scapulae muscle, the upper section of the trapezius, and the entire back portion of the neck. Now, if you are using an electric neck collar massager and it happens to have a built-in heating function, you absolutely must turn it on, because the deep soothing heat perfectly relieves any tight muscle spasms. And once again, I really want to remind you about basic safety rules. Just like with the massage balls, it is much better to immediately tie your long hair into a ponytail right at the top of your head. So then, we have successfully massaged out all those stiff trigger points, and now we absolutely must properly stretch this exact muscle out. Let's quickly take a moment to remember exactly what it does. It perfectly elevates your shoulder blade, and then slightly rotates it directly towards the inside. If you securely fix your shoulder blade in place, this exact same muscle tilts and comfortably turns your head completely to the side. And if you somehow manage to lock both of your shoulder blades down at the exact same time, it will powerfully extend your neck straight backwards. Knowing all of this vital information, we can stretch it out completely and correctly by doing absolutely everything in the exact opposite direction. Watch closely. In order to properly stretch the muscle out, we simply need to drop the shoulder blade straight down. To easily achieve this, we just reach down towards the floor with our hand. At the exact same time as we are doing this, we slowly turn our head directly to the opposite side and gently tilt it sideways. In order to stretch the tight muscle even stronger, carefully help yourself by gently pulling with your completely free hand. A very important detail to remember: always try to slightly change the specific angle of your head turn. This way you will easily be able to fully stretch every single fiber inside this muscle. Hold this specific position for 1 full minute, and then you absolutely must repeat the exact same process on the completely other side. Were you fixed? The overall effect will be significantly better if you incorporate your breathing. This specific medical method is called post-isometric relaxation. Here is exactly how this process works. As you inhale, you slightly tense up your neck, actively trying to push your head straight back, while firmly resisting against your hand. And then on a very slow, smooth exhale, you completely relax and easily allow the tight muscle to stretch out just a little bit further. And here is a quick little life hack. If you perform this exact stretch while standing directly under a nice warm shower, the muscle will relax significantly faster. By the way, performing this specific exercise while sitting down is actually much more effective than doing it standing up. Simply sit right down on the palm of your hand, specifically on the exact same side where your neck is currently hurting. By doing this, you will securely lock your shoulder blade completely down, and the final stretch is going to turn out absolutely perfect. There is actually one more really cool exercise: a deep stretch performed while lying directly on your completely healthy side, without using a pillow. Under the natural weight of your very own head, your neck will independently tilt and effortlessly turn itself in the exact necessary direction. And with your hand right on the side of the painful muscle, grab firmly onto the bottom edge of your bed in order to heavily increase the stretching tension even more. As soon as you completely finish stretching out one side, you absolutely must perform 3 to 4 full, highly active movements with your neck just to return proper tone to the muscle, and only then transition straight to stretching the completely opposite side. And here is one more incredibly important detail. The levator scapulae muscle, just like the rest of our entire neck, is absolutely terrified of the freezing cold and nasty drafts. You absolutely need to keep this in mind at all times, so that after your treatment is finished, the agonizing pain does not suddenly return. Here is a genuinely excellent habit to build. In the evening, right after a long and difficult workday, gently apply a warm heating pad directly to the sore spots, or simply wrap your neck up with something nice and warm. Furthermore, if you happen to really love sleeping on your side, it is critically important to choose the absolute perfect height for your sleeping pillow. Your head essentially needs to lie perfectly straight, maintaining a completely even and level line directly with your spine. If your pillow happens to be way too high or significantly too low, your neck muscles throughout the night will either severely overstretch themselves, or they will completely lock up into a brutal spasm once again. By the way, If it is still incredibly painful or extremely difficult for you to turn your head to the side, the root of the problem might actually be hiding in other places besides just the levator scapulae muscle. You absolutely must thoroughly check for the active presence of tight trigger points inside the neighboring zones as well. The splenius muscles, the scalenes, the rhomboids, and, of course, the trapezius. Extremely detailed videos breaking down these specific areas and several other muscles have already been gathered for you right over here in this convenient playlist. A genuinely huge thank you for dropping your likes and subscribing to the channel. I would honestly be very happy if you could quickly send this video over to any friends or colleagues who are also desperately suffering from severe pain and stiffness in their neck. Please stay perfectly healthy, take great care of yourselves, and I will definitely see you right back here in the upcoming videos.